Lots of people, including Trump, rightfully condemned it when Time magazine published the article The Secret History of the Shadow Campaign That Saved the 2020 Election. I thought the article and the art illustrating it is worth unpacking here as classical political propaganda. The art piece itself is perfectly calibrated to its audience. And now for the pastiche of symbols as presented by Time magazine in their never-ending sojourn for truth in the journalistic quagmire of their own swamp. Now, in defense, Time will say this art is purely opinion, but it was attached to a story pretending to be fact. This is classic propaganda, and if you don't like Trump, I'd ask you to look and see how many dog whistles, if you will make you respond like a barking Pekingese at the wheel of a car. Let's start. In the upper left corner, our eyes first naturally go to the vicious criminal who attacked the White House. And who is that? Is it President Trump, about whom the normie media would have you believe? No, it is Mediagenic Chewbacca Man, as he's been dubbed by a gleeful media, the mad insurrectionist in street theater costume who has come to symbolize the storming of the White House, January 6. Trump is looking over to Chewbacca Man as if he's just given him orders. President Trump, the arch-villain according to normie media, dominates in strength and personality over everything else in the illustration, even over a diminutive Joe Biden. More to say about the alleged shrinking president in this art as we work our way down. The illustration illustrates what Time magazine associates with Trump. On the other side of Trump are the insurrectionists at the Capitol steps, enemy at the gates. In my opinion about January 6, what brought the crowd to the White House in the first place was the overwhelming documentation of massive illegal fraud committed especially in the states that gave the presidency to Biden. Not because Trump supporters wanted to take over the government, but because they were the ones protecting democracy. Right next to the insurrectionists is a quote-unquote democracy defender. We know that because the artist even made an identifying sign establishing that. The democracy defender stands above a demonstrator who suspiciously looks like AOC. She is standing next to a My Vote Will Count placard. I presume he means any vote, legal or illegal. The effort to disregard the massive voting fraud perpetrated by the Democrats is pronounced in what I call this propaganda piece. Keeping with this theme, let's jump back to Trump's side, and we see another sign that says count every vote. Again, it must be noted, not every legal vote. The piece itself overplays its message. It shows for everyone to see how much the Democrats don't want you to think about that. Why is this theme repeated? Because the article positions Trump as the real attempted thief of the election. The implied message? Democrats had to hit the streets and otherwise steal the election to quote-unquote protect democracy. Now jumping over to Trump's side, we see a Confederate flag waver virtually painted on his lapel, apparently to associate Trump and his supporters, let's not forget, with racism, though using the Confederate flag may no longer absolutely mean that in all contexts. By the way, next to the Confederate flag waver is a white man without a mask, standing at a podium. Most Trumpers are not wearing masks in the illustration, like this barbecue man on the middle right and this guy here. The artist seems to want to portray Biden supporters as obedient and Trumpers disobedient. As time, if you will, wears on, disobedience will win. Another interesting thing is this large section of a Biden banner that is blocked by a supporter waving a bottle of booze. Biden's name is obscured by her position on the page. This happened above with Biden physically diminished, and again in another much smaller sign that actually reads Biden-Harris. It's almost imperceptible. Why is this? Think about it. Biden was hardly ever hailed as a leader of men. Everybody knew after generations in office he had become nothing more than an old race-baiting political politician. Exactly the opposite of Trump. Likewise, by the way, Harris was a complete unknown who had an affair with a local politician who mentored her into power. My point and opinion, the artist had no other choice than to minimize Biden, but of course he could not leave him out. He had to be there, but in the most unrecognizable way. Now to wind this all up, the article and art are double whammies of modern political propaganda. They conjured what the easily manipulated have bought ever since the beginning of industrial mass media in the age of manufactured consent. Time magazine played the always usable primeval card. On Trump's side, lightning bolts and dark clouds and cosmic retribution. Trump's world is a raging dark storm of chaos, racism, and dumbass barbecue-eating America firsters. God himself will keep Trump from being elected. Jump on over to Little Joe's side, the senescent creature now occupying the White House. All is wonderful. The sun is shining hope, love, and global unity behind it. The angels, along with unseen Hollywood celebrities and globalist CEOs, are about to gently flutter down at any moment. It will be everlasting delight. Never mind the retrograde funnel of chaos that immediately began to bring the country down upon his first hour in office. This was all supported by old-school communist-style newspaper propaganda, lapped up by the most gullible. As always, it worked. Thanks for listening. Love to hear your thoughts. This has been my opinion. What's yours? You can also read my comments on the link below.